Hello there, in this video we'll be reacting to what if Obi Wan Kenobi had nightmares of Anakin Skywalker turning to the dark side. This Star Wars What If is made by the Star Wars Galaxy, so make sure to subscribe to him and make sure to check out his original video. Links in the description. Subscribe to me as well, trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. And without further ado, let's get into the video.
What if Obi-Wan Kenobi had nightmares of fighting Anakin Skywalker on Mustafar?
Let's go!
That's our story for today. Hope you guys enjoy this one. And of course, please go down to the pinned comment down below if you'd like to enter our lightsaber giveaway.
Shite.
That'll be going on until I hit
I
60,000 subscribers. So, pinned comment down below, fill out the information, and subscribe to enter.
I love how this guy
Alright,
always gives away something.
Our story begins the night after the Battle of Coruscant. Anakin and Obi-Wan had an extremely eventful 24 hours, fighting in the Battle of Yavana, then meeting Ahsoka again for the first time after her expulsion from the Jedi Order. Not long after, Coruscant was attacked, and Anakin had split his 501st Fleet between Coruscant and Mandalore. Now Obi-Wan sat in his quarters, recalling everything. The flight around the battle with Anakin, barely boarding the Invisible Hand to avoid a death in the vacuum of space, fighting Dooku, then waking up to see that Anakin survived the fight with Dooku, and Dooku did not. The two of them did not speak of the darkness that was radiating off of Anakin as they landed back on Coruscant after the duel. But Obi-Wan knew it was there. They both knew it was there. He knew Anakin had this darkness always lying deep inside of him, and while Obi-Wan wasn't conscious, the darkness showed itself.
Indeed it did.
Obi-Wan felt relief knowing that soon this war would end, and his students would no longer carry the burdens of war, drawing him to the dark side. Obi-Wan looked out of his window now at the Coruscant traffic. The sun had set and it was dark, but still, trillions of souls moving around, just going about their lives. The planet was overwhelming. It was not the peaceful serenity that the Jedi should want, but they had to be here to serve the Republic is what Obi-Wan knew. He lay down on his bed now, still thinking about Anakin. He knew that Anakin was not in the temple. He rarely slept in his temple quarters. Obi-Wan knew he was probably with Padme.
Indeed.
But he ignored that, as Padme was the only thing that brought Anakin happiness. And knowing Anakin was happy brought Obi-Wan peace. So he laid his head down, and he quickly fell asleep, as Anakin too fell asleep, with Padme across Coruscant. And as they both slept, the Force turned and moved around them, showing them what is to come. Darth Sidious was influencing the Force to give Anakin nightmares of Padme dying, just like the ones of his mother, but Sidious greatly underestimated the will of the Force to fight back against the unnatural dark side. And so, as Sidious sent over nightmares of Anakin, the Force turned these nightmares, connecting with the Jedi closest to Anakin, and Obi-Wan Kenobi was given his own, clearer nightmare. As Obi-Wan slept, he suddenly felt overwhelming heat around him, and he opened his eyes to see a lava river. Obi-Wan was confused, but quickly realized this was a dream, and he could hear lightsabers clashing in the distance, over the sounds of lava flowing. This was strange, but Obi-Wan climbed the rocks to soon see two blue sabers clashing in the distance. He couldn't make out who it was quite yet, as a wave of lava was obscuring his view, but moments later, the two fighters emerged through the lava, and Obi-Wan saw it. Anakin versus Obi-Wan, master versus apprentice, fighting as if the galaxy were on the line. Obi-Wan stumbled down the rocks, and he called out to them, asking them why they would do this. And as the floating platform got closer, the Obi-Wan from the dream turned to see him, and then Anakin stabbed him through the spine, throwing Obi-Wan down into the lava. The platform floated over to Obi-Wan now, and Anakin stared at him with eyes mixed with yellow and red. He stared at Kenobi with pure rage, hatred, and it gave Obi-Wan more fear than ever before, as Anakin simply told him that he did this to him. He should have saved him. And Anakin swung at Obi-Wan, asking why he would let this happen. Obi-Wan abruptly awoke back in the temple with his lightsaber ignited in his hand. He was breathing heavily, alone, sweating a ton, and his eyes were darting around the room to make sure that this was real and the dream was over. He slowly put away his lightsaber with shaky hands, and he walked to the window once more, looking out to where he knew Padme's apartment to be. The echoes of Sith Anakin were still in his head, angrily accusing him of not helping him, blaming him for what he has become. Obi-Wan silently promised to himself right now that he would not let this happen. As he stared out of the window, he swore he could even feel Anakin looking to him for guidance, for something. and across Coruscant, on the balcony of Padme's apartment, Anakin Skywalker was sitting, staring past the traffic, through the buildings, all the way to the Jedi Temple far in the distance. He was just abruptly awoken by a terrible nightmare of Padme dying in childbirth. He needed help, guidance, and as he sat here, he silently promised to himself that he would not let these dreams come true. The next morning, Anakin entered the temple and decided he would speak with Grand Master Yoda about his nightmares. He was the wisest of all the Jedi, and Anakin knew that if he doesn't have answers, then no Jedi will. But as Anakin was walking to Yoda's quarters, he passed by Obi Wan. Strangely, Obi Wan didn't say a word. He didn't even look up at Anakin, so Anakin asked if everything was alright. Obi Wan turned quickly. There were heavy bags under his eyes, and he gave Anakin a small smile, saying that he apologized for not seeing him. He didn't sleep well at all last night. Anakin tilted his head, saying that he too had a terrible night. He had a nightmare. Now Obi-Wan looked fully awake, as he'd told Anakin that he too had a nightmare. And Obi-Wan brought Anakin to a balcony just outside of the temple, where the two of them could talk, alone.
And what was the
Once
night
they were
about?
seated, both of them began talking at once, but Obi-Wan insisted that Anakin go first, with a small laugh. And so Anakin took a deep breath, saying that he had nightmares of someone close to him dying. Obi-Wan sarcastically asked if it was about him, and Anakin shook his head. So Obi-Wan asked about Ahsoka. Nothing. Rex. Nothing again. Windu? This one, again, was said with some dry humor, but Anakin shook his head, not exactly in a laughing mood, though he did crack a tiny smile. And Obi-Wan put a hand on Anakin's shoulder, saying they both know who the nightmares were about. There's no point in hiding any longer. Obi-Wan says that he doesn't exactly support his relationship with Padme, but he has learned to accept it. So Anakin admitted that they were of Padme, and he said he would not let these dreams come true. He would not lose Padme like he lost his mother, and Obi-Wan could feel that was a bit of a shot at him for not helping save Shmi. Something began to click for Obi-Wan. Anakin had nightmares of Padme dying, and he had nightmares of Anakin turning to the dark side. So Obi-Wan asked Anakin what lengths he would go to in order to save Padme, and the answer chilled Obi-Wan, as Anakin said that he will truly do whatever it takes. So Obi-Wan would tell Anakin about his horrific nightmare, where Anakin turns to the dark side, cutting down Kenobi on the lava river, discarding him like he was nothing. And Anakin's eyes went wide, as he said he would never do that. When he said there were no limits, he meant within his own power as a Jedi. He's no Sith. And Obi-Wan felt slight relief, as the two decided to discuss this more later on. For now, Anakin was called to a meeting with the Chancellor. So while Anakin went to meet with Palpatine, Obi-Wan went down to the restricted section. Last night's nightmare was unlike anything he ever went through. He wanted to know why it came to him. So he sat down and began extensive research, going through countless books and holocrons about dreams, nightmares, all of them bringing him very little information, until he accessed the dark side information on nightmares. Obi-Wan would soon discover a section on Sith alchemy, and it was described as the Sith power to alter a thing or a living being, perhaps through visions. Now Obi-Wan wondered if this could mean the Sith were coming soon, likely to try to ensnare or kill Anakin and him, just like Dooku tried to do. So Obi-Wan decided to be patient, and in time, the Sith would reveal themselves. And so, from here, Anakin would soon become both a Council Master and the Chancellor's personal representative of the Jedi Council, while also basically being a spy for both. It was a lot to handle, and Anakin already had a lot on his shoulders with the nightmare. Some time would pass by, and Anakin would soon learn of Darth Plagueis from Palpatine, and how the Sith knew the power to save someone from death. At this point, Palpatine thought that all of Anakin's trust with the Jedi has basically been evaporated, but he was wrong. Anakin's connection with Obi-Wan, because of their shared nightmares, had never been stronger. So the night Anakin learned of Plagueis, he went straight to Obi-Wan's quarters, telling him everything. The two of them were trying to solve a mystery at this point, and Obi-Wan was now piecing it all together. First, the two of them have nightmares with Padme dying. Then, Obi-Wan went to the restricted section, found out all about Sith alchemy. Then, Anakin was asked to spy for the Council and the Chancellor, creating division between the two. And now, Palpatine reveals that the Sith, not the Jedi, have the power to save people from dying. And so, Obi-Wan would tell Anakin about his own research into Sith alchemy, how the Sith can influence the dreams of others, and after putting everything together for a long time, the two of them would come to a conclusion. Either Palpatine was working with the Sith Lord, or he was the Sith Lord.
Ooh.
So the two of them would spend the rest of the night coming up with a plan, and they would ultimately decide that their plan would be kept secret from the Council, from Padme, from everyone. And Anakin loved the plan. The following day, inside of the Jedi Council, the Jedi were discussing General Grievous, as he was discovered on Utapau. As discussions continued, Obi-Wan would speak up, saying that he will volunteer to lead the charge on Grievous, but he would like Anakin to come with him. He believes that the Council should show Palpatine that they are separate from him by taking his personal representative into battle.
Ah, smart.
Windu, Yoda, and the others discussed this, and eventually the motion was passed. Anakin and Obi-Wan would take Cody and the 212th Battalion to Utapau, destroy General Grievous. Sometime later, the Utapau attack would be launched. Anakin and Obi-Wan would catch Grievous off guard and begin a duel with him, while the 212th Clone Army took on the droids stationed on Utapau. Within minutes, the huge battle began, and the two Jedi would move with Grievous as he swung 4 lightsabers at them, pushing them to the edge of the cliffs, and as the dusty winds swirled around them, Anakin struck at Grievous with insane speed. Grievous was ready to finally battle the Chosen One, and he took him on, as Obi-Wan now joined the duel as well, putting Grievous off balance. The fight would move across the rocky...
Yo, this duel would be insane, but it would be way shorter than the duel we got, and of course Grievous would, like, lose by a ton.
...terrain, with Grievous crawling and slashing at them, constantly keeping the Jedi on the defensive. Anakin's aggression, contrasting with Obi-Wan's calculated movements, created a duo that suddenly challenged Grievous at every single turn. As they reached the edge of the sinkhole once more, Anakin cut off 2 of Grievous's arms, as Kenobi flipped over him. And so as Grievous turned to face Kenobi, Anakin was able to stab him through the back,
Nice.
then kick the droid general over the edge. And as Grievous fell, Anakin looked to Obi-Wan, and with a smile, they both agreed that the real plan starts now. Anakin suddenly sliced through his own robes, making them smoke and have slash marks. Then he closed his eyes and let his body go limp as he fell over the edge of the cliff. Obi-Wan smiled to himself, then went into acting, screaming in horror, trying to sell that Anakin just died to Grievous. Obi-Wan's scream got the attention of Cody and a handful of other clones, who watched Anakin fall all the way to his death. And Obi-Wan...
Yo, this is almost like the plan when Obi-Wan died in the Clone Wars, or, well, died, and actually changed his appearance to one of the bounty hunters. I think his name was Rico Hardin. Really interesting, and only Yoda and Windu, and a few others maybe, knew about the fact that Obi-Wan actually didn't die. And this is kind of like this. Very interesting.
Watched Anakin land perfectly in the water. Excellent aim, my young Padawan, he thought before going to meet with Cody and the Jedi Council. In a hologram meeting with the Council, Obi-Wan informed them that Grievous was dead, but it cost the life of Anakin. This truly shocked everyone. Anakin was thought to be invincible, but Grievous was known to be a Jedi killer. Originally, the Council was going to wait for Anakin to return to tell Palpatine about Grievous dying. His reaction would give them insight to Palpatine's true plans. But now Windu and the Council decided to wait. They would have a funeral for Anakin, though Obi-Wan said there was no body, as he fell from so far up that, well, his body didn't exactly make it. But that night, as Obi-Wan finally returned to the temple, he made sure it was mostly empty, as he walked over to one of the emergency exit hatches inside of the temple, and soon enough, Obi-Wan opened it, as a hooded Anakin Skywalker would sneak inside, telling Obi-Wan it took him long enough. Anakin found his own way off of Utapau, and waited for a long time for Obi-Wan. Anakin visited Padme first, secretly telling her about the plan, as keeping her in the dark just didn't sit right with him. But Palpatine was fully convinced that Anakin was dead. Now he was just waiting for the Jedi to make a move on him. But he would never see this coming. Anakin and Obi-Wan snuck to the science hall of the temple, and discreetly activated the facial transformation technology. During the middle...
Oh shit! They're gonna use the same goddamn strategy that they used for Obi-Wan to turn into Rico Hardin in the Clone Wars. Oh, this is so epic, bro!
...of the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan faked his death, and became someone else for a mission, Rico Hardin. Anakin was kept in the dark about it, and now this plan was Anakin's idea. Keeping the Council in the dark was a part of it that Anakin was more than happy to do. Anakin would pull out the DNA data cartridge of one of Palpatine's royal guards. Then Anakin snuck into the guard's sleeping quarters, knocked one of them out, taking a DNA sample, and he used a mind trick to convince the guard that he must return to his home on Alderaan for a full week. He was out of the picture.
That's funny.
And Anakin underwent the transformation, becoming this guard, getting a voice modulator. Now, he would be closer to Palpatine than anyone, and he wouldn't be himself. This was good. Anakin would grab the armor and the electro staff, then head to the Royal Guard headquarters for the morning security check. Every day, all 12 of Palpatine's guards went through extensive security measures to make sure it was truly the right person under the armor. Hence why Anakin had to undergo the facial reconstruction process. After the security process, the Royal Guards were spread through the Republic Executive Building, keeping watch to make sure Palpatine was kept safe. And while on duty, Anakin would have the opportunity to soon begin sneaking off to check into his suspicions about Palpatine. What is he up to? Anakin hacked into travel logs with Palpatine's shuttle, learning that he once went on a mission to Mandalore the same day that Obi Wan watched the team die.
That's weird.
And both Maul and Savage mysteriously disappeared. Anakin soon learned that Palpatine would often personally override security breaches from an interstellar swoop ship entering the Coruscant atmosphere, the exact ship that Dooku flew before his death. Anakin would also find that hyper-route coordinates were transmitted to Grievous's invisible hand ship just hours before the attack on Coruscant. When the Separatists attacked, no one knew how they could attack Coruscant without anyone seeing it coming. All hyperlanes were heavily blockaded, except for the secret one that Palpatine transmitted to Grievous.
Wow.
Anakin began downloading all of this evidence to a datapad, and a moment later, another guard appeared, demanding to know what was going on. Anakin said this was just a routine security check, but the guard didn't buy it, and he tapped a security button on his belt right before Anakin knocked him out. Anakin grabbed the datapad, considered his options, then ran to Palpatine's office. He entered, and Palpatine asked this guard why the security button was pushed. Anakin, using the voice modulator, said he pushed his by mistake. Palpatine began staring at him curiously, sensing something, then asked him to remove his helmet. Anakin did so, and it wasn't Anakin's face underneath. Clearly, Palpatine sensed something. He slowly walked up to Anakin, looking at him, squinting his eyes. Anakin tried to bury any feelings of fear or anger towards Palpatine, but as the Chancellor got closer, looking deep into his eyes, Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Agen Kolar, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Saesee Tin entered the room.
Yo!
Palpatine, he was
Yo! This is epic! Palpatine, you're fucked!
under arrest. Anakin gave a tiny nod to Obi-Wan, indicating that he hid the evidence of Palpatine working against the Republic. And Anakin got behind Palpatine, as the Sith Lord pulled a lightsaber to his hand, telling the Jedi this is treason. And Palpatine smiled, but before he could spin at them, Anakin grabbed his spear, slicing through Palpatine's spine, and he fell to the ground, dying almost immediately. The Jedi were in shock, as Anakin dove through the window, sliding down into the hangar, escaping in a speeder before the Jedi could ever do anything about it. Over the next 24 hours, the Jedi would tell the Senate that somehow a spy infiltrated Palpatine's Royal Guard groups and assassinated him. But after Palpatine's death, evidence was discovered to show that he was directly working with the Separatists. The Senate was in disbelief, but Anakin's hidden datapad was presented to them to show undeniable proof of who Palpatine really was, and so the process to elect a new Chancellor would begin. Meanwhile, as the war was wrapping up, as Separatist leaders were arrested on Mustafar, something truly shocking would happen at the temple gates. Anakin Skywalker himself limped up to the doors, and it was confirmed he was still alive. He survived Utapau. Anakin said that after fighting Grievous, he fell, barely landing in the water, but he did scrape the rocks and was knocked out, hidden away for a very long time. After Anakin gave this news to the Council, Yoda and Windu looked to each other, and later on, they went to the Science Hall, checking recent usage of the facial
They're gonna discover it.
reconstruction machine. There were recent records of a Royal Guard, and Yoda deleted them, saying that Anakin and Obi-Wan did what must be done to defeat the Sith and keep the Republic at peace. And Chancellor Neb Kriep, a founding member of the delegation of 2000, would help to keep this peace. both Anakin and Obi-Wan would leave the Jedi Order together after this.
Oh, okay.
And they would move out to Naboo with Padme. Obi-Wan decided he wanted a new life, and he would become Uncle Obi-Wan to the young Luke and Leia as they would grow up here on Naboo.
Cool.
As Obi-Wan began his new life on the peaceful Naboo, around Anakin and his family. And folks, that is our story for today. I wanted to really, I saw a fun comment the other day that was...
Hey man, I really like this what if. It's really good. I love the writing, man. I mean, the plan Obi-Wan and Anakin hatched, I did not expect that plan, but I really liked it. And I'm going to give this what if a 9.5 out of 10. Actually, no, you know what? 10. This is a very unique what if, and this what if deserves a 10. So yeah, a 10 for me. Let me know what you guys would rate this what if in the comments section down below, and if you agree with my rating, yeah, 10 out of 10.
That's it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe to the Star Wars Galaxy and check out his original video. Links in the description. Subscribe to me as well. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. Like the video if you enjoyed, and make sure to follow my Twitter. Link down in the description. Link will be down below in the description of this video. Turn your notifications on if you enjoyed, and yeah, that is all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is the way the Force be. God damn. This is the way it made the Force be with you. Till then, I will see you next time.
Hey, you didn't watch it? Well, check out the video on the left side of the screen, which is specifically recommended for you, or check out the playlist on the right of the screen, which contains similar videos to this one, made by me, of course. Hey, remember, subscribe.